Who could have seen this coming? Another top 10 video, but this time disguised as a wish list. Once again, this is just going to be my personal opinion on things I hope to see for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Let's get started. Number 1. So for my first point, I want a total revamp of our side quests. Now what I mean by that is, instead of having those smaller find X amount of an item type quests, instead having longer chains of side quests that tie into smaller arcs. For example, Banner's Revenge or the Melancholy Tyrea quest. Of course, smaller quests still have a place in the game, but the ones I remember are the ones that add to the overall experience and are not just busy work. And as an extra bit, assuming Blade quests won't be returning, perhaps converting them into party quests, where you go on smaller adventures with an individual party member, could be interesting, but how that would affect the game's pacing could be difficult to balance. Number 2. I hope this game sells extremely well because I want it to surpass Xenoblade 2. Now I am concerned that because this game is the third installment that it may hinder sales. Even if the game is marketed as not needing to play the first two, the fact that there are returning characters may be off-putting to some people from getting into the game. Although that wasn't the case for games such as Luigi's Mansion 3, I can't help but worry about the possibility. Number 3. Now I have a feeling this one's going to be controversial to some, but I want them to take the battle system and turn it up to 11. I mean really go crazy with it. I'm talking about doubling the amount of elemental orbs, making the driver combo split into multiple paths, adding more status effects, and most importantly, adding huge, unnecessarily big numbers on the screen, so in the most heated points of battle, the screen looks something like this. Now I completely get how that would be off-putting to new players, as I vaguely remember people criticising the complexity of the UI during the run-up to Xenoblade 2's release, but with good tutorials and not dumping all those mechanics on the player at once, people will figure it out. Number 4. Now this is a relatively safe hope. I want more party members, specifically one new character and a returning character. People who have seen my theories and predictions video will know that I think those Nopon could join us as a tag team unit, and the returning character I'd like to join us is Pyra or Mithra. I also wouldn't mind Alvis, but I guarantee he'll have a big role in the story anyway. Number 5. Alright, this is where things start to get a little crazy. Cut from Xenoblade 2 was what appears to be a Bestiary, as indicated by this icon found through data mining. So I want a full realisation of this feature for Xenoblade 3. Of course, I don't know how far they were planning to take it in Xenoblade 2, but I want something almost identical to the Piclopedia from Pikmin 2, where you can interact with the enemies, and most importantly, each character will give you their own thoughts on them. So although we still don't know that much about our party yet, let's say Mio has a fear of bugs, so her thoughts on any insect type enemy is just how to run away the fastest, whereas Tyons would be the best strategy to take it down. Number 6. So they say Uni has a sharp tongue. Now originally I was hoping we'd get an Fbomb at the game's climax, but I've changed my mind, and now I want it to happen at a completely trivial point in the story. So let me set the scene. Let's say our characters have just spent the night at an inn, and they're waiting for Uni to arrive, only for Uni to run in late and trip up on a table leg, dropping the very first Fbomb in Xenoblade history, having the rest of the scene play out similarly to Nia's iconic one-eyed monster line from Xenoblade 2. Number 7. After the previous two wishes, let's ground things a bit. I hope the story is great. I have no doubts in Mr. Takahashi's ability to deliver us peak fiction, but I do hope this story is the conclusion of a trilogy that ties up all loose ends and sets up for a brand new trilogy. To help with that, I wouldn't mind something like in Fire Emblem, where during the credits you get a short summary of what the characters are up to after the game's end, but I prefer a cutscene closer to Xenoblade 1's ending if I'm being honest. Number 8. A cool addition I think would be some form of underwater exploration, as we've had air travel in the form of the Skells, so how about we go underwater and fight giant sea monsters in submarine mechs? I'd even settle for it just being in very small areas, or even in the form of a fishing minigame, but I just really want to be able to go below the surface of the water in a Xenoblade game. Number 9. Now this isn't really a thing I thought I'd say, but I want DLC. Now call me crazy, as the game isn't even out yet, and I want more, but one thing Nintendo is good for, is not pulling an EA or Ubisoft, and selling parts of the full game back to you under the guise of DLC and season passes. So I suppose what I'm saying is I want more meaningful DLC, such as Torna or the Octo expansion. Of course we don't know what's going to be covered in the story for Xenoblade 3, but let's say this game only focuses on the futures of the past two games, meaning I think a DLC would be cool that focuses on perhaps what happens to Rex and the gang post Xenoblade 2. Honourable mention. Like I briefly mentioned during number 8, I think more minigames could be a cool addition. Nothing too crazy, but a little more involved than the salvaging minigame. Whether that comes in the form of Tiger Tiger 2, a cooking or even a fishing minigame, who knows. And finally, number 10. It wouldn't be one of my lists without having a point referring to Xenoblade X. All I want is some kind of tease that ties into X. It could be something as trivial as Lynn's Monado hair clips, or it could be something as major as Elma rolling up in a non-Nopon Arc Sage related way. But that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and yeah, thanks for watching. Oh, and here's the bonus. Noah will find the Xenoblade.